Hey guys, welcome back. We're gonna do something a little different today and a little out of order. We're still working on the journey. We're supposed to get a winter storm this weekend for Christmas, so I usually like to cut my melamine with the particle board core outside because it's so dusty. So today on this video, we're gonna start part number 1 of Tapper. I just want to get the front panel cut out and made, the speaker panel made, and the 2 upper panels in the back door. I want to get those just at least cut today. We're going to pop these ones off of this cabinet very carefully so that we can go get them cut. And then later on, probably next week, I'll start working on the Tapper. Let me do a quick update on the journey here. I wasn't able to get a real good picture of the coin door and stuff the other day when I was painting it because it was still wet and just didn't look that great in the photos. But now we can get a better idea of it, hopefully. But you can see how it turned out nice. Try to get an angle here. You can see a little bit of a texture to it. Same thing with the ring. I did go ahead and paint the back side of the control panel. I'm gonna flip it over here. I got a little bit of black overspray on the front. I'm not worried about it. I wasn't gonna tape it off and waste paper and tape on the front here, because on the front, there's those 2 white stripes that come up for the journey. So I just wanted to make sure that there was some white paint behind there, just so that if the black did interfere with the vinyl, it wouldn't be as noticeable having the white on there. One other thing I wanted to show you guys, I did put back together the power brick, everything but 1 wire I still have to solder on, and then I have to cut a piece of poster board or something to go underneath the bottom side of this. So this is what it looks like all together, all cleaned up. I don't know if you guys can see that or not. Turned out real nice. I wanted to show you a few things real quick here. Bring you in here. On these capacitors, try lowering this down here. When you get your new capacitors, they're gonna have Phillips screws on them that screw into the top of the capacitor with the built-in lock nut, lock washer, and a regular washer. These are not gonna work on MCR games. There's too many wires that have to go on these terminals, and these screws are just not long enough. So no matter what you do, when you go to take one of these apart, if you're waiting on these capacitors to show up, don't throw away your old ones. If you can hear this, that's probably not good. But so this old one, luckily the studs, they unthread. They have an Allen keyhole right in the center of the stud. So you can unscrew the studs out of your old ones and screw them into the new ones. And then you can use the original, locking nuts and washer and everything. So then you have plenty of room to get all these wires on there. You don't have to worry about it. I did change the oil can to a new one here. So everything is completely hooked back up. I just have to bring it in the house and solder this 1 wire back together here. I'm just gonna solder it and shrink wrap it and solder it. Then I can put my piece of cardboard on down here, which I need to research that and make sure a piece of poster board is going to be okay in here. Obviously poster board can catch on fire. I don't know if what they had on here was something that was kind of fireproof or not. I'm not sure. It was all messed up and wrinkled up. So once I get whatever I got to put in there, back in there, I can go ahead and put the bottom back on, and that'll be done. So now what I'm going to do is I can throw these away. No point in keeping these. Probably a good idea to hang on to these just in case. You never know, you might need them for something. But what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna go ahead and get set up outside and get all my saws and everything set up that I need to make these parts. Actually, you know what? Let me do this. I'm gonna spin the camera around first. Let's get the old parts popped off before we set up outside. So give me a few minutes and I'll be back. All right, I just grabbed a hammer and a pry bar, nothing fancy. We're gonna see if we can't knock these pieces off and use them for templates to make some new ones here. I'm gonna start with getting the rest of that speaker grill off. The cabin is leaning, must be missing a leg or something. It's rocking around pretty good. piece this back together. These are glued. Hopefully they're not grooved into the side, which I don't think they are. They might be. I got the first cleat out. We are going to clean this and reuse the cleat. Put it back right where it was. All right, we were able to get both of those out. I think this might have a tongue on it into the side of the cabinet. If that's the case, we're going to have to cut it off. And when we reapply the front, we obviously won't have a tongue like we used to. Let me get this piece off. I'm going to save this. Hopefully I can just reuse it. I think no, this one's not. Doesn't look grooved together. I think it's just sitting up there. Oh, somebody put screws in the side of the cabinet into the top. So we need to get those out of there. Find my bit here. Somebody put drywall screws through the side of the cabinet. Stripped out ones. Looks like they did it all the way down the cabinet. There's one I couldn't get out yet. They bonded over top of them. I think I got them all, except for that one over there. So hopefully I can kind of just lift up on this and get it to come out, or maybe I can lift up on it and try to spin it out. Nope, it's gonna bite me. Look at how bad this is warped. So basically we just need to cut a new top. It's got an angle cut here, and then it's got a rabbet out here, rabbet cut. So we'll just recreate that. cleat is loose. We'll take it off and re-glue it and re-staple it on afterwards. To see if I find any more screws in here. Oh, I found one, two. There's two more screws. I think that's all of them. Try and get this off without ruining the side of the cabinet. There's the top piece, all warped and swollen, and it looks like this piece was part of a different game at one point. I don't know if this was from the factory like that or if somebody replaced the top once already. Probably from the factory by the way the top looks. Now these cleats have some old particle board stuck to them. Not a big deal. I'll clean them, grind them all off. I'll show you guys how I do that in the future. So now we just need to get this front panel off, and I just don't know. For some reason, I'm thinking it's got a tongue and groove on that front piece. Can't really see down it. Oh, you know what? I think they screwed the front end. They screwed the front end as well, so it's not tongue and grooved. Somebody just put screws just like they did on the top. Trying to dig out the Bondo so I can find out where they're at. Well, someone at one point tried to fix this cabinet. Get off this corner piece. This cabinet's gonna have a lot of body work to it. But you know what, that doesn't bother me because I would rather have an original cabinet than a new made one. We have it off. All right, The old speakers, they're torn, they're garbage, they're all dry rotted. So I'll go ahead and toss these. Whole mess of rubber bands. Just a bunch of garbage in here. Looks like the bottom's gonna have to get replaced too. It's all sagged on the bottom. So what I normally do when the bottom's sagged like that, I'll just cut a piece of plywood and put a piece of plywood in there rather than the particle board that they had before. I need to get this wooden cleat that's on the back here off. Somebody had put it on there to hold the coin door or the back door that they made in place rather than making it like we did on the journey cabinet. Another wire to the garbage, missing the ground. Yep, don't worry about it afterwards. They just had these screws hanging in the cabinet. Nice way to scratch yourself trying to work on the game rather than just using shorter ones. Everything else we're just going to leave in there for now. These are the original holders for the marquee. Might be able to reuse them. They're a little bowed because they had it screwed onto that top that was bowed, but they'll probably straighten out. So we're not going to mess with taking the bottom off today. I just want to get these sides and other parts cut today. We'll worry about the bottom another day. So let me pause this, get set up, and we'll get this going. All right, I measured out the front and have the front marked on here. I verified that it was 23 1/8 wide. You want to make sure that you're real accurate with your width because your cup holders and your control panel all have to fit within a certain tolerance. So let's go ahead and cut this straight across here. Go grab my safety glasses. Okay, I have the height marked too. It is 35 1/4 tall. Okay, now we have to make the measurements, take the measurements for the coin door cutout. going to measure from the top down. (9 3/16). Now you could go from this line to this line, but I always like to go back from the top down, which is 19 1/8. (5 7/16) from both sides. It's always good to check that as well, just in case they are off from the factory. Okay, now I'm just going to take a measurement on the inside here. 12 1/8 wide. Pretty good there. About 10 inches tall. Right on the money there. Might want to open this up a little bit more. No, we're good. We're good. Now this gets a full vinyl wrap, this cabinet, which we printed it the other day, so we have both sides and the front ready. Like I was saying, my phone screwed up. We have printed the front and the sides the other day, and the rest of the artwork came from Phoenix Arcade, and it actually came really fast. It came here, I had it within a week. So now we have the hole drawn out for the control, for the coin door, which you probably can't see it on the camera. Next thing I need to do is mark where the holes go for the coin door and for the coin box. So need to get some accurate measurements for this. So we'll go down from the top. 14 1/8 should be the same. 14 1/8. I like to try to mark all this stuff before I cut. And I'm going to drill these holes before I cut as well. Okay, and then this hole comes over 4 7/8. It's our first one. Now I am measuring to the center of the hole. And then making a T, just a cross, plus sign of exactly where you got to drill for the hole. Now let's do the top and bottom ones. 8 3/4 down. (11 9/16). 19 1/2. If any of you guys are building a new cabinet, you can actually take my measurements and you'll know where you need to be. 11 9/16. Just make sure that you measure from the same side every time you measure from one panel to the other, just in case something's a hair off. Okay, now we have the 4 holes marked where the coin door studs slide through the cabinet. On this original panel, they had a little bit of a recess to them. So we're going to recreate that recess because there must be a little nub or something on the back of those cabinets that needs to go into the wood. Now if you notice, there's 3 little cutouts right here. we need to do that as well. And that, probably just gonna have to eyeball that one. We can measure it a little bit here. 9 3/4. And I'm just gonna draw a little circle here. Doesn't have to be perfect, these ones. It's gonna get covered by the ring of the coin door. 14. Just a little bump out. And we'll go 18. You can see where I just drew those 3. So after I cut the square out with the saw, I'll come back with my jigsaw and just make these little cuts. But like I said, we'll drill the holes first before we even cut the hole out. Now I got to measure these 4 right here, which are for the coin bucket. As you notice, the whole time I'm measuring from the top of the panel down, and I'm going to the center of the hole. 23.5, 26.25. 23.5, 26.25. 7 3/16 from the end. Now I'm going to go 23 7/16 to 26.25. 23 7/16 to 26.25. That's the first 2. 2 more to mark. After that, we can start drilling the holes and get it cut out. It's the same as the other measurement. (23 7/16), 26.25. The funny thing is the factory one's like a 1/16 off, so it was sitting a little crooked. We're gonna go ahead and just straighten it out. And then we go 16 over from this edge, 16 over. Now at the time I had sent my brass out to get re-brassed, I did not have the right bolts for this. I did since find some, but I had sent different ones out and I had them brass plated. So I have brass coin hold or cup holders. I brassed these 4 and then the bar at the bottom. Since I already had other ones brassed or just a little bit bigger diameter, I'm going to use them rather than putting black ones in. I just think the brass will look cool. So now that I have this marked out, let's go ahead and get these holes drilled. I'm just looking now real quick at where the foot bar was originally mounted, and they bonded the holes in, but I can see them here, here, and here. All right, I see them. So I think what I'm going to do with this part, I'm not going to drill any holes or anything for the brass bar. I'm going to install that after I'm done with the cabinet. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take a measurement from the top hole to the top of the panel and write that down, and then I'll know what height the bar was originally mounted at. It kind of looks like the bar went over top of this. These bottom, I'll have to do some pictures, but I am going to take a measurement from here to the top and write it down, which is 26.25. So I'm going to write that down. I'm going to get some drill bits out. I'll be right back. All right, so what I'm going to do is just find drill bits that fit in these holes. It's a little bit loose. That's 1/4 inch, but 5/16 can be too big. We're going to drill them 1/4 inch. If we have to ream them out a little bit afterwards, we can. So we're going to drill those 4 at 1/4 inch. And they used a 1/2 inch bit for that little countersink. So let's do these 4, and these are the same size. So they're all going to be 1/4 inch, except for those 4 that I'm going to countersink a little bit. So let's move this off the material here so we're not drilling into a good piece of. Get these 4 drilled out. These 4 down here for the coin bucket, you want them to be kind of a tight hole because they are square. The end of the stud is square so that it sits into the hole and it keeps from spinning when you tighten it down. So let's say that you go to install the coin bucket, the holder that holds the coin bucket, and these holes are a hair off. Since you really kind of need these holes to be tight so that the square part of the bolt fits in there, what I would recommend would be to make the holes in the metal a little bit bigger rather than the wood itself. So now we got all those holes drilled. We're going to take the 1/2 inch bit and just go down a little bit just to give that a little bit of a recess. After that, we can cut the coin door hole out and the front panel will be made. So we're just going to take this carefully. Don't want to go real fast, just go slow. Nope, almost went too far in that one. Now the coin door for this cabinet I already have restored and ready to go. I did that a while ago. So that old front piece is garbage. We don't need that anymore. Try not to knock everything down here. So now we're going to cut this square out. I'm going to use a circular saw as much as I can, and then I'll come back with a jigsaw and knock out the corners. So let me get that out, the jigsaw out, and we'll get this hole cut out. battery's dying. Helps if you put the blade in all the way. Keeps it from falling out. I'm gonna cut out these 3 little dips I have. There you go, new front panel. It's ready to go in. Put this off to the side and we'll start on the other panels. Okay, the piece I had left over from the front panel right here, we'll use that to make the speaker grill area. And this one cut is on an angle, so we're gonna have to get the table saw out and cut that angle. You can do it with a circular saw. It's just quicker and easier to do it with the table saw. All right, we're gonna find this angle on the table saw. I just like to hold the piece up there and tilt the blade until I find the right angle. Which is right there. Comes out to be a 13-degree angle. So now what we can do is take this piece, stick it in there like that, just snug the fence up tight to it. Now we know the width of this piece. So let's cut the width of it, the depth of it, whatever you want to call it. Garbage. So now we have that made. You can see we have the same angle. So now what we could do is you got to make sure you keep it orientated the same way. So we'll line up this back here. So we're going to line up the back of it with the straight back. When you do that, it looks like this piece is longer than that one, but it's not, because it's just not down. So we need to piece this together. Lay it out on top of the old one, and we will cut the circles for the we'll mark the circles for the speakers. And we can cut these out with a jigsaw. I gotta mark the holes. The easiest way to mark these holes would be to take your drill and get a screw and just put them in the center of each one. So I just take a screw, just make a marker. Just do that to all 8 holes. This part's not too bad because you can just line up that circle that you had drawn. You could just go through it with the drill bit, but I'll do that afterwards. Okay, those are all marked. This is garbage now. Get these holes drilled. Just probably see what size holes they are. Once again, they're 1/4 inch. That seems to be the standard size holes for this cabinet. Okay, those are cut. Now I'm going to drill a bigger hole in the center just so I could drop my blade in there to cut the ovals out. These don't have to be perfect. All my batteries are dead. There's a new speaker panel, cut out, drilled, has that angle cut on it. It's all cut out, drilled with the angle. Okay, I just marked out a square big enough right here to make the top two pieces. So we'll cut this big square out and then we'll cut it into the two pieces that we need. Now we'll make this first top piece, which is smaller. It's not real wide. It's got this rabbet we got to recreate, and it has a angle cut on it. So we got to find that angle. I wonder if it's the same angle as the last piece. Yes, same angle, 13 degrees. So I'm just setting this in the saw just like I did the other piece right there. Lock it down, lift this up. Now this just needs a rabbet cut into it on this other side, which we'll do that in a couple minutes. Let's cut this last piece. I'm just trying to see here if it's a different angle or not, which it is a different angle. So now, looks like this is a double angle. Both sides have an angle cut. So this side showing a little bit less of an angle. (10 degrees). We'll back this fence up to the blade. Right there, lock it down. So we're going to take this square edge. This one has an angle from the previous cut. So we're going to cut that off. We have our first angle cut. You got to make sure you orientate it in the right direction. So it goes this way. So now we have to find this angle. So that means we have to take this piece, flip it upside down like that. So we got to keep that in mind when we cut that one. And I screwed up. I didn't make this wide enough. So I'm gonna have to remake that piece, but I do remember that it's 10 degrees. So we need to start this one over. So let me remark that and I'll be back. Go over here. Okay, I cut another piece real quick. It happens sometimes, you'll screw up and you'll do the wrong thing. So now we're going to cut this steeper angle first, because then we can go from this farthest point to that farthest point. And this angle appears to be 28.5 degrees. So we're going to cut a piece at 28.5 degrees. Just going to move this in a little bit, right to there. First cut. That means I need to flip it this way. And I remember that that's at 10 degrees. Right there, double check it, looks good. So now I have to remember to put this point to the bottom of that first cut that I made. So just like this, that'll ride along the fence right there, and it'll give us this other cut. It's just gonna make it. There it is. There's those two cuts. The only thing left to make on this panel is the hole for the on-off switch. So I'm going to get that marked, and I'll drill that out next. All right, let's measure this. We're going to go center of the hole. 5 1/16. And we're going to have to go from this point here over to the center of the hole. 13 7/8. This is an 1.5 inch hole. So we're going to use this 1.5 inch hole saw to drill that hole. We're done with this piece. This is garbage. What I like to do is drill halfway through until this pokes out the other side, flip it over and finish drilling it. It just keeps the hole looking a little nicer. That's it for that. So this top piece is now done. Put this in the pile. Okay, I've set up my bit on my router for the rabbit and this. I set it to the same height as this one. So now we're going to take the new panel and cut that. Got to make sure we do it on the right side, because we have this angle on the one side. So these are both going the same direction. So we'll lay it down like this. Our groove needs to be on this side. All right, this piece is done. It's got the rabbet cut in it. It's got the angle. So this is the last of the top. So all I have left to do is cut the back door. I'm gonna get the back door cut and routed just like we did on the Journey. And then I gotta make those slots for the vents. This tapper has them on the top and the bottom. I'm not gonna cut the slots tonight. I'm just gonna get the door cut to size and routed. It's getting really cold and getting dark, so I'm gonna try to wrap this up here in a few. Okay, the cabinet in the back is the same width as the front, 23 and an eighth. I'm gonna cut this panel at 24 inches for the first cut so that I can run the factory edge along the fence, and then I'll come back and bring the saw down to 23 rather than 23 and an eighth, just so that there is a 1/16 of clearance on each side of the door for putting it on and off easy. So we're gonna cut it first at 24 inches wide. Now we'll take it down to 23. Take the edge I just cut, flipped it around, and run it on the fence. I'll be back in a minute. I'm gonna get the height of the door now. All right, I just made that other cut outside off camera real quick. It was getting dark and really cold. I didn't do any of the rabbeting on each end or cut the vent holes yet. We'll do that on another video. I don't need the back door right now, so it's not a big deal. I mainly wanted to get the top cut, speaker, and the front panel. We still have to make a plywood bottom. We can do that on another, probably do that and the back door at the same time. But here are the collection of parts right there. They're all ready to go back together so that we can hopefully get this sturdy again and not so messed up. But that's going to end it for this video, guys. This is part 1 of Tapper Restore. Probably won't see another one of these videos for a week or two. I'm going to go ahead and go back to working on the Journey. I also still need to do a tour of the basement, which I haven't done. I decided yesterday that it'd be a really good idea to rip a room out and turn it into a bar in 10 days just before our party. So I've been in the middle of that project as well, trying to get that built and put back together. But stay tuned. I'll definitely get that tour done, and we'll get some more videos going on the Journey because I really want to have it done for the party. So other than that, guys, have a good night, and I will see you later.